Hey y'all, hey, it's Texas tea, sweet tea, whatever y'all call me. Welcome back to the Black Gold featuring Texas Tea Show, the Rise edition. But guess what? Today it's an even different kind of rise because we are living single. Ooh, and in this type of world, I'm glad I got my girl. Miss Shantae is joining us tonight. Hey, Shantae.
Hey, 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 good to see ya.
Good to see you too. And we wanted to come to all of you out there because we're talking about being single. Yes, we are. It's a new day, it's a new age, or is it? Is dating really different in 2026 than it's been in our lifetime? Because we have different age groups, and we let the ladies have a break. The other ladies have a break because they're not living single like me and Miss Shantae. And me and Miss Shantae wanted to talk about some stuff that they might not even have a clue about. So we're going to let this be about dating
Single life.
in this time. And what is that like? Because I don't know about you, Shantae, but girl, I got stories. What about you?
Oh, okay. We gonna talk about some stories. Let's go.
All right, that sounds good to me. This all came about because Shantae and I were exchanging experiences that we've had. I date online. I don't date as often in person because, you know, I moved to Charlotte in the pandemic and meeting people in person is always challenging for me. So I do a lot of online dating. Have you ever dated online, Shantae?
I have, but even online dating now is not so different than online dating before. It's the difference is we now have video, we have the ability to, do private chats. Whereas remember the party rooms? That's where a lot of people were picking up dates and things like that in those that 1-800, party with me or whatever that number
Oh,
was.
girl, wait a minute. Now you telling me about some things I didn't know anything about. I didn't do any of that. So what was that like? Just to be clear for the others and myself who might not have had that experience. What was
Well,
that like?
I didn't personally have that experience. I was too
Okay.
young, but my
Okay.
uncles and my aunt, growing up with them, I'd be sneaking on the other side of the closet because back then we didn't have cell phones. We had the
Right.
the dial phone. You
Corded
had to,
phones. Yeah.
oh, yes, you had to take your phone to the closet, and so I would hang out on the other side of the closet with my ear listening to the people in the party room and asking the questions like, who were you talking to? I was nosy. I was the nosy kid. They did not like to see me come around because I would ask the question, and then my granny would say, well, who were they talking to, baby? And I would say, they on the party line. That party
Oh,
line
and
call.
look, not only were you nosy, you were a snitch.
I was a snitch. But that party line calls, you hear that question, why my phone bill so high? Because it wasn't a free call. That was an expensive call. So, yep, they on the party line. They was on for 25 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I could not believe and she done told all their business. I bet they was mad at you.
Ooh, they be so mad at me. So mad.
Well, listen, when we're dating in 2026, the other thing to think about is, is love different or are we? Like, um, what are we really looking for if we're looking, or are we just playing? I'll let you answer and then I'll answer.
Ooh, that's a good one. So I would say love is love. And if you're doing love the way that one is written in the Bible, the way that it's supposed to be, that agape kind of love, then there's really not a difference behind it. But again, we've got different vices that we're operating from. We're not meeting guys, or, in our sense, we're not meeting guys in the grocery store or at the laundromat, or when we take a walk in our community. We're not meeting those type of guys. We're meeting guys, either online, or for me, I'm at church all day, and it's a different type of man at the church as well. So
Yeah, and for me, I never know because I'm relatively new to my church, so I never know who begot who, and who's zooming who. And I don't want nothing to mess up my church because I'm not changing churches. I love my church. So I'm not even, so if they don't approach me, and even sometimes if they do, I'm like, I don't
mm-hmm.
know, and then I have to ask myself, what the Lord said.
I will tell you. So back in the day, and it ain't that far back, but back in the day, we had a guy that was at our church. This was when I was in California. And this guy came to the church. I didn't know this, but he was, messing around with all the women because my nose was in the book. My nose was in what God had for me there, serving where I was serving at, and, doing the things that I was called to do. And so this guy came to the church, dating all the women there. He invited me on a date, and I said, sure, let's go. And so going out on this date with him, he said, well, meet me at my house. We're driving one car. We had plans on what we were going to do. So he's like, meet me at my house. We're going to drive in one car. I get to this man's house. He's like, hey, you want something to drink? I'm finishing getting ready. Now, that's the first, right? Because normally women are later getting ready.
Right,
But
right.
he wasn't ready yet. So he asked me if I wanted a drink. I said, sure. So I got some orange juice.
Okay, good.
Okay. Hadn't had nothing else to drink, no, nothing, no alcohol, none of that. I had the orange juice that I got from his house. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm just not feeling too well.
Mm-hmm.
Something is off. And
Mm-hmm.
so I called my mom and I let her know. I said, Mom, I'm not feeling well. She didn't live too far from where the guy lived. And so I called her and I said, I'm on my way. She's like, I don't want you driving like that out. I was like, it's going to take you too long. I need to get away from here. I
Mm-hmm.
feel danger in my chest just started beating super
Mm-hmm.
fast. I was just in a full blown like panic attack behind this. That man had roofied me. He had roofied my drink and thought he was going to get away with
Girl, that's a everybody in church ain't saved moment. That's what that sounds like to me for sure. That everybody in church ain't saved, and we need to make sure that we are careful about who we allow into our spaces or who spaces we allow ourselves to be in because things can happen. So that's a heads up to anyone else who's listening. Nowadays, and it's not just nowadays, it's just more popular nowadays that people find themselves in situations that they can't control. And I think with that person's history, based on what you said, it's very probable that you weren't the first. So, to all of our listeners out there, just be mindful. And that's not just guys either. Sometimes it's women that'll do the same thing. So, guys and ladies, men and women, be mindful about your situations and be prayerful about your situations because everybody in church ain't saved. That's all I can say about that. Well, I'll think about it for myself. I started dating online because I had a stalker. I'll just leave it like that. All the names shall remain, all the victims shall remain nameless to protect the guilty. We'll leave it like that. So we found ourselves, it didn't work out, and I appreciate the conversation with a guy myself. I do. And so my only way to help that was to, I don't know, I had talked to other women who had dated online successfully and had like married, lived happily ever after kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know about the live happily ever after, but let me see what I can do. And I'm gonna tell you this. I've never told anybody this, Shantae. So you know you my real girlfriend. I got online because in my mind, I was like, the thing about being online is you don't know who you're talking to. You can be anybody you want to be. You can make up your whole life story online, which is why most people are afraid of dating online because, like, I don't even know them. Well, I was like, you don't know when you meet them in person either. They can tell you whatever they want to tell you. But I logged on as a man just to see if I could. That whole be because you don't know what you're doing,
it.
which is why I currently, if I'm gonna meet someone that I've met online, I have to have a video chat to be
Mm-hmm.
sure I'm not getting uh
Catfish.
catfished, girl. Trying to make
Mm-hmm.
sure I don't get catfished. But I did. I logged in as a woman just to see if I could, and you can because you
Yeah.
build everything yourself. There's no validation of any information, and so I do understand the people who are nervous about it. But I've met some really cool people, some really nice guys, and it made me learn that just because there's not a connection between us doesn't make them horrible people. It's just not, we're just not that. We could be good friends and, meet for drinks occasionally or whatever, but nothing more than that. Um, what have you had any in-person dates of late?
So I did. Living in Virginia, and I'm going to relocate because it's not good here. But living in Virginia, I went on this date. Oh my gosh, this was hilarious. So I met a guy online, and he wanted to connect, wanted to meet face to face. And so we wind up going to the lake. There's the big lake out there. We wind up going out to the lake. It was all cool. He was authentic, but he was very, I don't want to say very needy. He needed a lot of attention. And I just could not. I couldn't give him that attention at that time. And so we didn't work out. We didn't work out. We went on one and done. So it's difficult.
It is, because that's the other question. So, how do we meet people in 2026? Because
Right.
everybody's either online and traumatized, or has some other kind of issue, or they're unavailable, or maybe they're one of all of those things. So,
Mhm.
what can a girl do? What can a guy do to meet someone who's really special? I've even seen here in Charlotte, speed dating. Have you ever done that?
I did that, yes.
Have
And that
you?
was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You get an opportunity to ask pertinent questions, but it's a quick, short, period of time. And really, there is the competition because you may have found a connection. You found a connection with one person. That person has found a connection with a couple of other people. You know what I mean? So it's really just the same online or in person speed dating. It's the same. You may have, your eye on a particular person, but they've got their eye on another particular person, and
And
you feel the competition.
But I guess what I hear in saying that, Shantae, that's no different than meeting people in person too. Because I had an instance, sitting at the bar. This is years ago, but I had sitting at the bar with one of my girlfriends. We decided we were going to go to happy hour and have a drink. And I'm sitting at the bar, and the bartender comes over and goes to her and says, "Hey, the gentleman at the end of the bar wanted to give you this drink." And we both lean up and look at the end of the bar, and I'm like, I can't say the person's name because I said all names shall remain nameless. But I called the person's name. I was like, and she said, "You know him?" I said in the biblical term, "Uh-oh, yes, I know him." Ooh, girl, I was not trying to give them this much tea, but you got the tea now on Black Gold featuring Texas tea. I said, "Yeah, I know him." And he came up and sat next to her like I wasn't sitting there, like he didn't know me. I was like, "Hey." He said, "Hey, T." And I talked so crazy to him lately. I said, what was that about? He said,
Right.
"Listen, I could take her with me. I couldn't take you." I was like,
Hmm.
what? So the thing there is, what's funny about that whole story to me is me and that person are still really cool friends.
Hmm.
It just wasn't for
It
us to be
wasn't the season. Yeah, it wasn't the season. I
correct.
think, the best way to go about it, and I've not found a magic solution at all. Still looking for that magic solution, but I think the best way to really go about it is to be patient, be
Okay.
who you are, regardless if you are online or if you are in person. Be your authentic self at all times, because we have to know what our worth is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are so quick to try to be that person's helpmate, and that wasn't the person we're supposed to be the helpmate to. We're so quick to give that person our all, and that person is only giving us 10%.
Well, that, and it's been said to me a million times, because when people ask me, "So what are you looking for?" Girl, I don't really know that I'm looking for nothing. For me, and a
Mhm.
lot of times, it's like I said before, it's the opportunity to have conversations
Right.
with guys. I like
Yeah.
having conversations with guys. I found in some instances women can be very messy,
Yeah.
or you know what I'm saying? And I found myself not wanting to be in the company of new women. And to
Mhm.
be fair, most of them are not trying to be in my company either, because we may hang out, and I'm glad to say this show is being recorded after a weekend that I've met some fabulous queens. Do you hear me? I was
Mhm.
so honored to meet these ladies. They were very cool people, but before that, just some women that just, their focus was on stuff that I did not care about.
Right.
And so, having conversations with guys is simple. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
not interested in them, let me be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm interested in them, that's a whole different kind of thing for me.
True.
So the one thing that's happened lately as I met, why they want 15 million pictures of you? I'm like, I put all these pictures on the dating site.
On the
Use those.
site.
I'm
Can you
not
go
trying
back
to
to the
be
site again?
in your wallet, in your phone. I'm like, what are you doing?
And
How
then
many
send
pictures
you
have you
one.
collected?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then they send you one.
Well, they might send me three or four. I don't want your pictures. What I've now decided that is you get maybe one picture that's not on the site because I'm always saying, girl, I'm fixing to be president of the United States. You don't need to have no whole bunch, no collage of pictures for me. Wait
Mm-hmm.
until you meet me and you can take your own picture. I'm not sending you any more
Exactly.
pictures.
Exactly. I'm not sending you no more pictures from my phone. When we meet face to face, then you can take a picture.
Period.
Yep.
Or as the kids would say, point blank, period. Right.
Right.
So, as you've dated online, are there any sites that you would give any level of credence to or guard against? Maybe the question, or any that you would consider better or worse?
I would say they're all entertainment. They're all entertainment, from the Plenty of Fish to the Black People Meet to the what Hinge, Cupid, what all of the ones that they have. There's so many out there, and they all serve a very different purpose. So I would definitely say be cautious of the sites that you get on because the purpose is a hookup. That's all
Yeah,
they want is just a
yeah.
hookup, and you done signed up for it. And then also pay attention to the profiles because some people will say open to anything. Some people will
Hmm.
say casually, you want to definitely pay attention to it. And when you begin communicating with the person on there, speak to what you read on their profile because yes,
Hmm.
we know things may have changed or, your thought process have changed or whatever. And, introduce yourself. Hey, DD number 25, whatever. I see on your profile you're looking for, a best friend, whatever that said. Tell me a little bit about that. Why are you looking for a best friend? When was the last friend you had? And just remember that there are flags in every conversation that you have. The color of the flag is important. So pay attention to whether you getting a green flag, this is all go, this is good, or you getting those red flags. Pay attention to your intuition because we want to, make them our fairy tale so quick. And
Yeah,
then we're so hurt by it.
but it
And,
was all right there.
mm-hmm,
Um,
yep,
some some of the red flags that I've heard talk about is he said he wasn't ready for commitment,
yeah,
or she ignored the still living with ex situation. Why?
mm-hmm,
Or his phone was always face down. Now those are red flags, but those are, to me, that's common sense. And you have to make, common sense ain't always common practice. That's one
right,
thing. But
right,
you have to be, again, clear about what your motives are. I
correct.
always avoid those that about that whole you still you
Mm-hmm.
still living huh?
What? Right, right. You got to stand for something or you're going to fall for everything,
And I'm
right?
always shocked at the ones that'll say, "So are you single?" Because if I wasn't, I'll be
Again,
talking to you.
ag- again, paying attention to what their profile says
Hmm.
because they just looking for something casual.
Well, in all fairness, their profile might not have said that, because what I've also noticed is some have copied the profile from somebody else's that they thought was a good profile because they didn't know how to write
Mm.
one, and so they just copied what somebody else said. You find out, because I've seen one that it said the guy was like 35, and I'm looking at that picture, was like, so did you want to post a picture of your dad? Because that
Mhm.
man is not 35.
Right, right.
I mean, not that the cougar in me would be attracted to a 35-year-old. Let me clarify that.
But they're coming out though. They truly are.
Let
The
me just
35-year-old, they
say
so bold.
they are. And as I'm doing this podcast, there are some fabulous people out there, but there are some that you need to be mindful of and stay away from as well, right?
Hmm.
And these red flags that we're talking about are some that everybody who's dating online should be aware of, right?
Yeah. And also remember that, you're dating online, so you're really not getting the true person. You're getting the representative sometimes. So when you guys do decide that, okay, we're going to make that connection, always, 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 always tell a friend. Don't just go on a date. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
that's
Let a friend know where you're going. I love to see when, there's a couple sitting at a table and across the table there's a friend that's watching the couple, paying attention to it because we got a lot of people that's out there doing wrong to women naively, because we're not doing our due diligence and researching.
well, and I really want to say that that happens for men too.
It does.
We are in a day where some of the horror stories that we used to only hear about women are also
Hmm.
happening to men. And it makes me
Hmm.
angry because I'm like, there they go, I'll be messed up. They don't want to talk to me. And my whole trust level has gone down because of my life's experiences, and now their trust factors have gone down because of theirs.
Hmm.
The one that I've heard most often is that these women will go out on a date with a man, and the man is trying to, be kind to them because they really are interested in them and take them to a nice dinner. And before they leave for dinner, the woman will order 2 to 3 additional entrees
Right.
to take
Right.
home to feed somebody at the house. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
Like,
It is
that's so rude.
expensive. It
It
is expensive.
is.
Let me ask you a question though. On that same vein, when you're preparing to meet somebody, like, are you thinking about that, like the budget and things like that?
Oh,
Because
well,
it's
yeah.
not easy for anybody out here right now.
Yeah.
We're all hustling, trying to make our ends meet and things like that. And so when you're going out a date on a date, you have to realize that some of the guys that's dating is dating. They are looking for something, and so they're going on multiple dates. And no, it ain't my problem. But I don't want anybody to see me as she a gold digger. But
Right.
I
That's,
will say
yeah.
our initial meeting, let's go for coffee. And you pay for your coffee, I pay for mine. Don't worry, I'm gonna go somewhere that I know that I will be able to pay for myself. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
order what I know that I could pay for myself. I'm not gonna try to tap into anybody's pocket because if I think that I'm looking for longevity, I want to make sure that he sees that there's value in this one.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it
Absolutely.
may not be the season, it may not be my time for that one, but I
Yeah.
still will represent who I am authentically always. So,
And I love that you emphasize that, Shantae, because I think no matter what the situation, the authenticity is critically important because you should be able to walk away, even if it's not a connection, you should be able to walk away from the situation knowing that you brought who you really were.
yeah,
And even if they didn't, you have no regret. You can still look in the mirror and know, well, look, it just didn't work out for whatever reason. And I also want to reiterate or bring back up again the importance of letting somebody know where you are.
right.
I don't know about you, but I've gone on dates where, I've called, and for me, it's never my family. It's typically a really good friend. But because your family don't want you dating online, no way. Sometimes at my age, they're like, nah, you don't need to be doing that. But I will call a friend and send a picture of the license plate.
Hmm.
Full name, this is who he is, this is where we're going, this is how, and if I call you by this time frame, then you'll know this is what we're doing, kind of thing.
Right, right.
So that everybody is on the same page. And I'll let him know that that's what I'm doing too. I'm not trying to
No secret.
hide it.
Correct,
I want
correct,
you to know they know where I am, so don't be
right,
dumb. But
right.
I haven't personally had any really negative experiences when I met someone.
Hmm.
But I could tell right away that the interest wasn't there because the instances that I had was they were testing to see if you're a gold digger.
Right.
They were testing to see,
Hmm.
and some of the conversations that I've heard, um, I don't know about you, but lately I've seen on my phone an alert because I use a Google number too.
Okay.
I just again to protect my safety. Just because you crazy, I shouldn't have to change my phone number. The phone number that I've had for my personal business and other
Right.
details the majority of my life. So yeah, and I don't, it's the same as having a business phone line. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you get close enough to me that I decide that I want to give you a regular, my
Mm-hmm.
personal phone, then we'll do that. And if you want to
Correct.
continue to use the business line, it's the no difference. I've had people be very upset about the fact that I have a Google line. I'm like, because were you able to talk to me on it?
Right. Did you get a hold of me? Was it hard? Did I have I don't have a personal assistant to answer it. It is me.
It's me.
Regardless, you got a number to connect with me. But see,
Exactly.
here's another question I have. And so even with that same vein, how long do you carry the conversation online before you share your phone number?
I think that varies too. And I don't even, to be fair, I don't even know why.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give a legitimate reason as to why, other than to say there are some people because of what comes out in the initial conversation. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to. I want to know more
Right.
because your story may have taught you some things that you've decided to make different going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I'm wanting to hear more to see if any red flags arise because also sometimes some folks have practiced enough
Yeah.
to say the things that they know they're supposed to say.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll always, not always, but I've heard different ones say, I'm not that, I'm a good guy. I'm not gonna,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's some bad ones out there, but I'm a good one. And I always say, so do you think that the axe murderer told their first victim, look, I want you to get in the car and go with me, and we're gonna act like we're going on a date, and Jeffrey Dahmer, and when we're finished, I'm gonna take you back to my house and cut you up and put you in my freezer.
Right.
That's not the conversation.
That's not, yeah.
So be patient enough to understand I'm getting to know you and you need to be concerned and get to know
Mm-hmm.
me. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just a one-way thing. Everybody should be mindful that today's processes are very different. It's a very different thing. And I like the fact because one of the questions that I had pulled up for us to talk about is who pays for the first date. I'm with
Mm-hmm.
you on that. I always have enough money to pay for whatever we're doing, whether we decide to
Right.
get coffee or if we go to dinner or if we go sit outside in a park bench and have a conversation.
Right.
It's
And now is the perfect time to really start dating because
because it's beautiful
outside is so
outside.
beautiful. And it's so many different communities that have like movies in the park and stuff like that. And I think that's a romantic date. Like you
It is.
don't have to pay for a whole lot of stuff. Well, hey, you bring sandwiches, I'm gonna bring the wine. Or you know what I mean? Whatever that may mean, that's a romantic date.
And you, whether it's the first conversation or the first date, to
Hmm.
me, you can tell that there's a chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so this another question about that is when do you allow them to come to your home?
That is again that varies, but it's definitely not in the first couple of meetings. I need to know who you are. I think outside is good for us. Let's continue to meet outside. When we decide that, okay, there's, that, but I also have kids at home. They're grown
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I have
yeah,
little,
yeah.
but I do have littles. And so I have to be very protective. But then also, let's take it to another front. If you live by yourself, where's your protection?
That and I don't need you to be crazy because I said, yeah, this is not working like I thought. So
Yes,
I
I
don't want
need
you
you
to
to
be
be
crazy and come back breaking my house and
that part.
none of that.
That part.
You
Yeah.
know, I
So
need you to be
I
grown
think,
up about it.
yep. I think
And,
we have to collect the chemistry, collect our evidence and our data before we agree to bringing anybody to our home. But in the community, okay, cool. Yeah, you want to go to the park? We can go to the park right around the corner from my house. You won't know that that's around the corner from my house
right.
because I'm gonna let you pull off first.
Right. What you say. The thing that you just have to be mindful of, you
You
know?
do, you
And
do.
I have to say that to me it's fair to be mindful of all these things. It's not to
Yeah.
say that anyone's a bad person, but it is to say that in this day and time, there are things that you have to think about differently than you did when we were younger. I'll put it that
Hmm.
way. I have no
Hmm.
idea what it's like for young people. I have absolutely no idea what it's like for like your son or your daughter. I have no idea what they do
I
because
have no
I'm not
idea.
in the club anymore.
That part. Yep. For
I mean, I
me,
might be in a
the most
jazz
places
venue,
I've
but
right, I may go to dinner and it might be music, live music being played and stuff. But a lot of those places and the type of music that I like to listen to is more where couples are going. So I definitely don't want to catch the eye of another woman's man.
what you
I don't want
say?
that drama. I have no time for that.
Well,
But
and in this day and age, catching the eye of another woman's man could be deadly because these people today, they
mm,
have very short fuses.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm not as my Tarian as I speak to you on my what birthday.
right.
Yesterday is my birthday, y'all.
Happy
So thank
birthday
you
to
all.
you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I'll take it all. Absolutely. But one of the things that I was thinking about too is that dating is a process.
It is.
And I had to remind myself that dating is just that. It's a process of getting to know and figuring out where it fits. And I personally don't believe, even though I'm not always the one that does it, I don't necessarily think that you should be limiting yourself to one person as you're dating. You should be dating
Mm-hmm.
to find out more about the persons. And as the process goes, some will eliminate themselves, or you will determine that this is not quite what you're interested in, or whatever. But I do believe that you have to know from the beginning, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think, and I,
Um,
I would say, I think differently about that. I think that I understand what you're saying and where you're coming from with it. But I think that for me, I want to give you the full benefit of the doubt. So I'm not going to be dating around. I'm going to give you my full attention for a couple of weeks. If I don't see that it is growing as it needs to grow, or we're progressing, what does that mean? Progressing for everybody is something different. But if I don't see that something is coming out of this, then I can move on. But I'm going to give you 100% of who I am, because again, that's just who I am, before I start to move on and date somebody else. And I would hope that that's the same vein, because
I
we
guess,
can't get to know each other if we're dating a bunch of different guys or different people.
well, I guess for me, I'm speaking of your initial conversations. I
Hmm.
might be conversing
That's
with
not
multiple.
dating though.
It is, though, because you're getting to know each other. You're just not in person. It's part of the process.
Hmm.
If I get to the place that I'm comfortable enough with you that I want to meet you, and then we meet
Hmm.
and there's chemistry, then I might make the decision that it's one on one. But
Hmm.
initially, until I meet you, I don't know. Because
Okay.
your representative always shows up first to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
I need to have a couple of conversations with you at different times of day
Hmm.
to ensure I know what I'm going to meet in person.
So let me ask you this question. So there's a guy that I met recently. We had great conversation. I won't say had because it's not over, but we've been having great conversation. We've been upfront about, hey, I've got these couple of days I'm gonna be with my mom, or I'm gonna be with my kids, or whatever the case may be. And our schedules are different. This guy works nights and sometimes overnights. So it gets a little bit tricky. But the last couple of days, the conversations are few and far in between. And for me, I'm quick to cut it and say, I ain't got time for this. If you can't make time to send a text and say good morning, I know it might be afternoon or whatever that may be, then are you really interested in me? And I don't want to waste my time nor yours.
What you say?
So I'm really quick to cut it, but I'm trying to not do so. And
But
so
what's your
then
most precious resource?
my time.
Absolutely, because you can't get it back.
I cannot get it back. I cannot get it back. And so I'm on the fence because it's been a couple of days. I probably said the last time I talked or we text back and forth was Saturday. And I have not heard, oh no, I got a happy Mother's Day. That was it. But we didn't text or talk. And I got a message today. And so I'm like, well, what is it?
There's a
Is that too
guy,
quick to cut?
there's a guy on Facebook. He may be also on Instagram. And I
Hmm.
had to look at him real closely too because um I was trying to see if it was AI.
Okay.
But he tells you things like, and I should have written it down and had it before today. He tells you things like, if a man really loves you, this is what you'll see. You know,
Hmm.
if he starts to incorporate you into his life, he spends time with you. And he there's another one he says, these are words to be careful of. And one
Hmm.
of them is soon,
Hmm.
because there's no commitment to soon.
Hmm.
There's no
Hmm.
definition of what soon is. Oh, I'm trying to find out what his name is. Because it was, to me, he's like the perfect big brother, father, uncle, to give you insight about things that you should be mindful of if you're dating.
Hmm.
And when I said you must be clear about what you are expecting, because I know several women that date with the intention of, I'm finding my husband.
Hmm.
And I'm not mad at that. It's just not what I do,
Hmm.
you know? And so if that's because, like I said, I started this whole process just trying to have a conversation, especially when I moved to Charlotte. I just wanted to see, what are the guys around here like, you know?
Yeah.
Because I was still single. I hadn't
Hmm.
met anyone that I was in a relationship with. So I was just trying to find out. But I would have liked to have had a father, uncle, big brother tell me, girl, no, if you see this, this, that, or the other, these are things that you should be aware of. And I'm going to try to find this man's information and share, because I think that the folks in the audience, our listeners, those who have joined us today, would want to know about it. But one of the other questions that I want to say is, what is an immediate turnoff for you, whether in conversation or when you meet them?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say an immediate turnoff. It's kind of hard, but for me, because my kids are older, young kids,
Mhm.
I got a 1 year old. I'm not interested in raising someone's kid, baby,
Okay. Okay.
right? Now, if he's got later teenagers, then
Mhm.
okay, that's we could work with it. Now that's gonna be a task because these teenagers are mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if he's got young kids, I don't want the drama because I'm not presenting to you drama on my front.
That's fair to me, because if they're young, that means that the mother's relationship with you is not that
It's
far
still
away.
fresh. Yeah, right.
And I heard someone say it really well when they said, "Did you say y'all weren't together anymore? Did she say y'all weren't together anymore? Are
Right.
y'all on the same page about what that means
Correct.
in a co-parenting situation?" Because I
Situation.
don't mind, girl, at my age, I don't mind that you have kids. It don't bother.
Hmm.
I hope you do, because guess what
Hmm.
you're not gonna get from me. So I
Hmm.
don't mind that you don't have kids, but I need to be clear about what that looks like for you, and I need to be clear about how that would impact me. Because I'm not trying to have any of your children angry with me, thinking that I'm taking up their time with you. You know, there just needs to
Hmm.
be clarity about what all of that looks
What
like.
it looks like, right. Right.
Mhm. And
I,
with
I
that, go
I
ahead.
told my friends, couple of friends of mine, a couple of years ago. I said, "All right, listen, y'all, I'm open for dating. Where your brothers at, your cousins, your best friends, because y'all know them best, and you know me, and so I'm okay with going on a couple of blind dates." And one of my girlfriends said, "That sounded a little desperate." And I said, "No, you got to think about it like this: when different cultures, their kids get to the dating age, the parents are sending them on blind dates." The parents are arranging these dating. I'm okay with you dating, arranging a date for me because my picker seems like it might be off a little bit.
It makes me
How do
question
you
myself
feel
for
about
sure.
that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I'm gonna be in an arranged situation, I need to make sure everybody knows what we're doing, though, because Girl, my sister said to me that my expectations were too high.
Mm-hmm.
And my response to myself, because I didn't say it to her, was, when do we talk about what my expectations are? That you
Uh-huh.
know that that's what they are. Because a lot of times people will look at you and decide for you. I can't find the guy's name. I was trying this too much. They will look at you and decide, but for whatever reason, by whatever standard that you set your standards, they think you want this, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, nobody's talked to me about what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm fair, in some instances, I'm not sure because what I thought I wanted in the past
Right.
did not deliver on what I thought I wanted, if that makes any
Mm-hmm.
sense, right?
Yeah. Now, are you making yourself untouchable? And I
Maybe.
will say it in the light of, are you making yourself untouchable with the expectations that you have of the kind of men that you're meeting?
Other than the fact that I don't want to hold their hand and they look like they're my child because they're so little. Uh-uh.
Okay.
I just really am pretty simple in my expectations because if I had had this conversation years ago, I wanted a best friend that I
Mm-hmm.
could laugh and talk with and say anything to.
Yeah,
I
still do.
wanted someone who was willing to work beside me and me work beside them. And let's build some things that when we get to be older, we could look
Mm-hmm.
at our accomplishments together, um, be proud of what we've done, laughed about what helped, what happened to us on the way to it.
Yeah.
And my that would be my, of course, without question, be clear. Of course, they love the Lord first and
Mm-hmm.
foremost,
Mm-hmm.
because I would want a three-chord relationship, him,
Yeah.
me, and the Lord in that thing. And I would want it to evolve into a marriage for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have to admit that there's probably some things that I have been somewhat superficial about. I'm not at all proud to say I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a couple of instances because I started running into people that this y'all don't think I'm superficial. I'm just telling you. I like a good smile.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer that when you lay down at night to go to sleep that it stays in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm 100% with you. I'm a teeth girl. I'm a teeth girl. I've had some really handsome guys come for me. And when they smile, that smile was not smiling with them. It was smiling against them. And I'm like, yeah, nope. Mm-mm. Because I take care of my teeth. And at this age in life, we should have had the ability to get it taken care of. Now, health situations and all of that gets, I know it happens. But come on now. Come on now. You want me to look and have this 25, 36, 34, blam, blam, bloom, bloom, but you couldn't fix your teeth? You chasing after me because I got hips and butt and breasts, but you couldn't fix your teeth? I mean, you present your best self to me and I'm presenting my best self to you.
What
Why don't we
I
do that for each other?
listen, what I say on this, because I did not realize there are some men who my cousin, God rest his soul, said to me that if the woman was less than 300 pounds, he had no interest.
Hmm.
I have no idea what drove that. Wasn't none of my business. He wasn't going to date me as my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
But what it taught me was that everybody has a thing that they want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's just one of my things. When I look at, to your point, my mother was, if you saw what my mouth used to look like, I always think of the sacrifice of my mother when someone says, "You have a beautiful smile, girl." My teeth were jacked. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
These front two teeth were like this. This tooth right here was up here
Mm-hmm.
to the point that I could not close my lips. It kept
Mm-hmm.
my lip up like this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, and there was a tooth up under it that had still not come out, like a baby tooth that still hadn't falling out.
Exactly.
And
Mm-hmm.
I had another one that was embedded in the same place. And my mother took me to a dentist to have it pulled so that my mouth would close. And he said, "No, she can't do that. That's going to change the whole structure of her face. She needs braces." And my mother paid $25 a week for me to have braces. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
so grateful. And I do recognize that that's not everybody's story. But what
Right.
we're talking about is the fact that everybody has a preference, and that
Mm-hmm.
happens to be one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a real thin man.
Yeah. Please no. Please.
She said, "Please." She said, "Please." I will say, girl, that's what we said we are going to talk about. I did go out with a guy because my sister said that my expectations were too high. I did go out with a guy, and he was really handsome to me, but he was really small. He was
Mm.
not just thin, he was short.
Mm.
And he asked me because his back was itchy. He asked me to put lotion on his back. And girl, I felt like I was getting my nephew, my little 8-year-old nephew, ready for church. I was like, Lord have mercy. This little bit, I could do his whole back with one hand. I was like, oh, he's so little. Ooh, I cannot believe, Shantae, you got me talking about this stuff, girl. But I did it when I left. I was like, Lord have mercy, that's a small man. I
Mm-hmm.
want a big guy. I'm a big girl.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Yeah.
walking around looking like the number 10. Saying.
I cannot, Teresa.
I'm just saying, yeah.
You
Okay,
said
okay,
I
okay.
don't okay. I cannot. But no, I do have, there are things that I look for in a guy, appearance wise.
Yeah.
And I would say that if you don't meet that appearance wise, but I know what your heart is, I can give the benefit of the doubt. It's not this is how it has to be. I'm not stuck on it. But I do have some preferences. I do have some,
I think we all do. But
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
also think that it's imperative that we not enter a relationship or a relationship. I'm gonna leave it right there because we're
a
not doing
ship.
it. But yeah, some type of ship. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
If we're
mm-hmm.
gonna get on the ship, we should make sure we know what direction it's going because we
It's
can't
going.
change that.
Yes,
And
that
well, let me say it
part.
differently. We shouldn't have the intention of changing that. I can't say that we wouldn't because
Mm-hmm,
I know the man that really loves me may do some things to accommodate me or appease me,
mm-hmm.
even if it's not his preference.
Right.
You know,
So I've had guys that would say that I'm out of their league. How do you feel about that statement?
well, I'm gonna give you my version of it. What was said to me was, "You look like you're very well kept,"
Mm-hmm,
and my response is always, "Cause I am."
mm-hmm.
But I've learned that that means they're deciding whether or not they either want to invest what it takes to keep you up or do they have what it takes to keep you up. And that's very frustrating to me because I never
Mm-hmm.
asked you to keep me up.
Right, right, right.
I brought to you what I do.
Mm-hmm,
And if you've already decided that I'm out of your league, maybe you're right.
mm-hmm,
You know, I've been told several times that I was too much. And it hurt
mm-hmm.
my feelings at first. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I know that I'm a very down to earth person.
Right.
Y'all know I'm crazier than most when it comes to being silly and funny.
Mm-hmm.
But then after I heard that from women and men,
Right.
and I decided to answer that maybe I'm not too much. Maybe you're just not quite enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Because those words came out of your mouth, not mine.
Mm-hmm. What about the
So
word intimidated? I'm intimidated by you.
I always have to ask those types of questions with a question. What
Mhm.
about me intimidates you?
Mhm.
Because again, you are deciding what you think of me, which we all do,
Mhm.
based on a first appearance.
Yeah.
You don't know me, so you don't really have anything to base that on. You have looked at me, made an assessment, and made a determination about who you think I am.
Mhm.
Because then it becomes a question of, do you want to get to know me, or do you want to
Mhm.
roll with your assumptions?
Yeah.
Because you may discover that your assumptions are right. But another thing that I tell most of the guys that I've dated in my lifetime, I am not like nobody you have ever dated before.
Mhm.
And I say that for two reasons. One, we're all unique. I don't
Mhm.
like the conversation of all women, always, all men ain't, but I don't like
Mhm.
that either way
Yeah.
because I've not met all women and I've not met all men. So I can't
Right.
make that statement in earnest. But what
Mhm.
I know about myself is I ask questions.
Mhm.
Because the moment that you expect me to have a crystal ball and you think that because of my age, I should have known, I should know what I want, I should know how to do whatever, whatever, you already messed up because you
Yeah.
don't know enough about me to make those decisions.
That's it. Yep. Yep.
So let me ask you another one. What if um, you smell player in the person? First of all, what makes you notice that scent, and what would your reaction be to such an individual?
Whew, that's a
Y'all got good.
very.
Let me take it deeper. Y'all got good chemistry. He makes you feel like the queen that you know you are. He does all of the things,
Mhm.
but you sniffing player.
Mhm. Here's a thing that helps me with this. And the reason that I use this analogy, even though it's not a great one to use, I think it works, right? You have Metro PCS, you have Mint,
Oh, you
you have
have.
T-Mobile, you have
Oh,
Verizon, right? And if you are not on one of those four plans with your phone service, you ain't ready to commit. If you don't have a church home, you ain't ready to commit. Oh, I go to this church and this church and this church and this, you bouncing around, you're not ready to commit. And I'm not going to waste my time with it. Now, to your point, we have connected, we've got great chemistry, things are going well. And I feel like there's that player mentality. I'm out.
you're not gonna have a
I,
conversation about it.
mm-mm. And I'm not going to look back.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree. The thing for me is, like I said, I ask questions because my experience has been just because I think a thing is a thing doesn't mean that that's what it is. And I have a real bad habit of creating an entire scenario in my head that has nothing to do with what's going on. For instance,
But,
I'm seeing someone or getting to know someone right now myself. And I literally was, in my mindset, because I have a tendency, as you can tell, I talk a lot. I become very close very quickly. And I'm trying to change that because I probably ran off some nice people because they're like, dang, well, they say she thirsty. I ain't trying to be
mm-hmm,
thirsty.
mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm,
trying to let the guy breathe. And so I was like, I'm not going to call him. I'm going to give him the privilege of calling when he's ready to have a conversation. And in my mind, he never called.
mm-hmm,
He never called. I'm like, okay, what's the next word, Shantae? I feel a Casper in your future,
mm-hmm.
right? A
See ya.
ghost.
See ya.
And then, and then at the end of the day, I receive a phone call, and he's like, I call you 6 times a day.
Hmm.
And then I pick up my phone, and I'm like, you can call me. I don't have no notices that I missed no calls from you. And surely enough, my phone's been on silent all day because why? I was working. And
Mm-hmm,
there are those calls, but I'd already written the end of that story.
mm-hmm,
You see what I
mm-hmm,
mean?
mm-hmm.
So
You
that's
know,
why I tend
I'm,
to ask questions to ensure that what I am thinking that I'm seeing is either going to be
mm-hmm.
confirmed or I'm going to get the rest of the story.
Well, see, I've dealt with my ex. He cheated. Oh, he was a cheater, big time cheater. And he would say, I'd get a phone call in the middle of the night. He was in the motorcycle club and, did his thing, right? And I would get these phone calls and say he on his way home. He just left my house.
Oh, from his friends or something? What?
From a female, this is a female calling me to tell me he's on his way home. And so he gets home, and I'm like, why is such and such calling me to tell me you were on their way home? How did they get my phone number
Right.
to call me and tell me that you're on your way home? They got that close to you. And he said, oh, nah, babe, our numbers is up on the wall and the roster, and it has our emergency. And it was
Oh, so you're
like,
dealing with somebody on your job.
do I look like I'm busy to feed? And this would go on and on and on. And the moment he thought he smelled me cheating, oh, he was ready to blow a gasket. But no, you can't leave me. Oh, you gotta stay. We wasting each other's time, bro. If I'm not good enough for you to be in this space with me, go on your way and deal with what you're dealing with. Because I don't need nothing to be brought back home to me. And so to complete that part, after I had my son, I was pregnant with my son. And after I had my son, I go to the club. I see his truck there, and they say, oh, he went to get ice. This man went to get ice at every club, motorcycle club that was around there. Oh, he went to get ice? Oh, he went, everybody knew the story. He going to get ice. I said, let me drive on the lot and catch him on the lot with a female. So trust the intuition, because if a cheater's gonna cheat, they're gonna cheat wherever. And
Yeah.
they boys gonna cover up for them.
Yeah, most of them will. Most of them
So
will.
I don't have time to play that game. I've been there and done that. So if I feel like or I smell like a man is cheating, I'm out. I ain't got time for it. There's
So
too much going around.
would you say that with having those experiences, would you say that you might be, or you could understand why someone else might be jaded and
I
therefore
understand.
challenging to date someone new?
Hmm. I totally understand people and being jaded. I totally understand that. But I would not say that I'm jaded. This was years ago. My baby is now 27. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
done.
yeah.
Been there, done that, down that road.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh
yeah.
I don't think all men are cheaters,
Right.
but I know some men are cheaters.
As are some women.
And I was getting ready to say that. We all have that tendency to want to cheat. We all have the opportunity presented before us to want to cheat.
I'm not going to agree with that. I don't think we all do, but I do think that if we allow ourselves to be in certain situations, if we allow ourselves to have certain situations, is what I could best say, it could put us in a vulnerable position.
Mhm.
And we have to be aware of that. That's what I would say.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what I would say. And
Mhm.
with that said, let me, because you brought up the ex situation, would you entertain, date, talk to someone who still talks to their exes? No children involved. They're just friends.
Oh, that's a good one. I, I, I don't think I want to deal with that. Again, I don't present the drama. I'm not bringing drama to the relationship.
Might not be drama. They may just be good friends.
Understand, but they've been down that road before, and it's easy to slip right back into it.
That's very fair. That's very
Hmm.
fair. And I'm probably feeling some kind of way because girl, I think I have a whole bunch of guy buddies.
Hmm.
Because I'm a sports fan coming from my hometown. I always wanted brothers. I've always had a whole bunch of guy friends. And not all, watch this, not all of them have tried to connect with me. Some of them
Hmm.
are literally just friends. And what I would want the man in my life to know is I would let them know who these friends were.
Hmm.
My friends would never disrespect a relationship because first of all, they probably be so doggone excited that I'm in one. They ain't gonna do nothing to turn it up. Like, I've been in a relationship and God knows how long, but so they'd be like, like I promise if I were to tell my friends that I was getting married, they'd be like, what? So, Harpo, who that man? They would probably be so, and look, they would be practicing that at last. They would be so happy, but they would never do anything to disrespect that. And that's something that I would require. But
Hmm.
by the same token, I understand where you're coming from too. I really do.
But let's see, the shoe is on the other foot. Can you be okay with the man that you're dating still hanging out with women friends?
I didn't say hanging out. I said having conversation.
Okay.
Because that whole process of having a conversation is one thing. When I say having a
Hmm.
conversation, that means that occasionally, whether it's and I say that word is perfect, occasionally,
Hmm.
Christmas, Father's Day, Easter,
Okay. Okay.
occasionally, if they
Hmm.
call you and say, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. How's it going? How's your girl?" Like, you must acknowledge who I am. There should be no instances where you need to be on a one-on-one with them. Nah.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
again, you should not put yourself in a situation to which you would become vulnerable.
True.
It,
True.
and you and her would need to ensure that the same respect that I talked about amongst my friends would be given to me.
Hmm.
She ain't gonna do nothing to try to jeopardize or manipulate
Hmm.
my relationship toward failure. Because see, now when you do that, that's a different kind of conversation. That's not a
Yeah.
friend. That's somebody that's not over you, and no, you can't hang with her. You
Yeah.
don't need to be talking to her. That's a different thing to me.
Yeah. True.
So that's how I would take that.
Hmm.
How? So that's where your no comes in.
That's where my no comes in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. I get that. So let me ask this question as we start to kind of wrap up. You said that there's a someone that you're still figuring out. What are your thoughts if you were going to say anything about that someone and where you are right now, other than because the conversation about I sensed an uncertain distance. Have you had a conversation about that?
I've not. So again, I just got the text today and I hadn't had a chance to reconnect. I do know based off of the schedule we discussed, he's probably working now. So we wouldn't really connect if I responded right now. So yeah, no, we have not talked about it yet. There's still opportunity. I have not done the block done over. I'm still inquisitive about what should the next step be.
That's fair. I love the fact that you said the block done over because, girl, I have to block and delete because I go back, next month when I'm um, not talking to nobody and just wanting to have a conversation with somebody, and I call them back. I
Mm-mm.
really have had to make myself kill it, let it go.
Mhm.
When a person shows you or tells you who they are, believe it.
Believe it. Hmm.
And don't, I read this somewhere recently. Don't give a man twice to ghost you,
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
don't chase a period trying to put a comma in that
Hmm.
place.
Correct.
But
Correct.
what I will say
Know the
is,
difference between what's a stoplight and a stop sign.
yeah, because girl, I did go to what was a stop sign and try to put up a yield sign. I did. I'm
Hmm.
not proud. But I appreciate that the person, because I don't know if y'all remember, but she kind of cute, and he had not seen her in a while, and he was very excited about what he saw. And he presented the character that was in love with her. And then she didn't respond because she is accustomed to seeing a breakdown in subject and verb agreement.
Hmm.
And I wasn't trying to do a moment because we've been around each other a long enough time to understand is this a moment or a lifetime?
Correct.
And I was like, well, no. Plus, I had to go to work. Nobody had time for that. And then the next day, it was very different.
Hmm.
So now I'm confused. And so
Mm-hmm.
I asked about it, and the response was, "Oh, I should have never done that in the first place. I'm so sorry. I was not trying to send signals."
Mm-hmm.
Me too. And I appreciate the honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Still love you, mean it, but
Yeah.
glad that I have understanding of what it is because
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about with that vulnerability. You have to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I ask questions because I'm not trying to figure it out for you to
Yeah.
tell me, I never told you. Yeah, you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
your out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask some questions and get it clear so that when I check, because I don't know if y'all have seen these recent videos that's talking about if you love a Taurus, this is what you need to understand. Baby, it tells you when we in, we all in.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? When we out, we out.
Yeah.
It's
And I think that it's
done.
not just a Taurus thing. I think it's when a woman's fed up, there ain't nothing you can do about it. So
Who said that? Who said that?
listen, I'ma remain, keep that name nameless.
No, no, no. That's in the song. When a woman's fed
It
up,
is a song. It is a song, but we
there
don't need
ain't
to go
nothing
down
you
that
can do
road.
about it. That's a song, baby. And that's a fact. But
It
but
is
what
a
I
fact.
say is I always think of the brothers. The same should
Mm-hmm.
be true there. They may have women that run them around like, a carousel
Mm-hmm.
with all the game. And that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
very much aware of. I'm very much aware of the fact that this is not a them versus us kind of situation. Some of the same challenges that we face, men face.
They are
Matter of
facing.
fact, I'd love to have a man. You know what? I know somebody.
I would love, I was gonna say that I would love to have this conversation with a single man or
I
two
know
on the call.
somebody. I know somebody. And girl,
Mm-hmm.
listen. I know somebody. I'm gonna
I
check and
think
see if he's
I think this is
available.
a conversation we continue next time we bring in, a man or two
Rise,
to
the
have it.
single edition. Um, so let
Yeah.
me say this, girl. Woo wee. This has been a real conversation. I've said a lot of things as have you shared, but I hope that those who are listening when they tune in to the Black Gold featuring Texas Tea Show Rise Single Edition, I hope that they will appreciate us sharing our experiences, possibly relate to some of them as well. We didn't slam anybody. I am gonna look for that guy's site because he really does give some great information. It's not
Mhm.
Steve Harvey stuff, which the provide, protect, and defend. What is it? Provide, protect, and what's the other P? I don't even remember. But it's
Mhm.
not that. It's not that. There were a lot of guys really pissed off at Steve about that.
Mhm.
Um, but he has some really well thought out insight for women. And
Mhm.
we might find that, I don't know if it would be young or who, but some well thought out input for men as well. Because I think it's important that we talk to each other and provide that kind of communication to all of us because dating is definitely a different thing.
It is.
And it's a thing.
It's the thing. I would say this, Teresa, when you find the link, make sure it's in the description,
For sure.
you know,
Absolutely.
so
And
that
you
way,
know what?
as one of the tools that we've talked about or that we've shared.
Absolutely. And what I'd also love is if those who stopped through the show would add some comments regarding their thoughts about some of the topics that we've talked about today as well, and what you'd like to see happening in the future when we have the men on board, because that'll help us have some questions that didn't just come from us. A girl wants to know. So that would be an
Yeah.
awesome opportunity. What closing thoughts do you have? Any wisdom that you'd like to leave on this topic before we shut down for today?
I would. I would say one, be patient with yourself as you are in that dating reign. Also, listen.
Mhm.
Listen to the things that are being said and the things that's not being said. And lastly, have fun.
Mhm.
Don't be so serious about yourself laugh often as much as possible. The perfect first date is a comedy show.
Yeah,
I think that's a perfect first date.
yeah, for sure. At least you can see if the person has the same humor you
If
do.
he has a sense of humor, yes.
I have to admit,
You,
I like that picnic though. That picnic that you talked about was really cute.
oh, girl, I think that's beautiful. Take me on the picnic. Call me, let
Right?
me know you're ready to go because I'm ready. I got my blanket. I already got the little basket too. So let's.
Right, girl, it's so cute. You know, I'm the selfie person. That's a photo op for me. Ooh, look at her on the picnic on the picnic blanket. Absolutely.
Yes, 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 yes. So yeah, I'm ready for it when they ready. But I'm not
Well,
rushing it. I am ready though.
absolutely. As am I. And I guess basically what we would close by saying is that dating in 2026 requires prayer,
Hmm.
discernment, and a real good strong Wi-Fi if you're doing it online. Listen, y'all, we want you just to remember, as we've done, having conversations for really leads to a good understanding. My mama would say nothing beats a good understanding.
Yeah.
And when you're dating, as Shantea said, being patient, not only with the person that you're engaging with, but with yourself. Don't rush. Be patient enough to find out what it is. Be knowledgeable enough to know if what you want is what you're seeing, and be
Hmm.
strong enough to walk away if it's not.
And
Um,
ask questions.
I, you know that's the biggest, strongest tool in my toolbox is to
Hmm.
remember to ask questions. Thanks for the reminder. As we get ready to close, you know, I always like to say those types of conversations, whether it's because of culture, which is a richness for all of us, or whether it's things that we want to know more about, having conversation allows us to learn that we're probably more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
So as you move throughout your day, remember to live your best life because you only get one chance at it, right? Make this today be the best day of your life for the rest of your life. Until next time, thanks for joining the Black Gold featuring Texas Tea Rise Single Edition. And God bless.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye.